Hey folks, this is Greg. I mentioned in the introduction of my earlier video that I wanted to build a end mill sharpening jig, which basically starts with a universal base that has to have adjustment in all sorts of angles, back and forth, up and down, side to side, rotationally, whatever. So I want to build that base today, at least start off on it. It'll be a several-week project. To speed things up, for the vertical adjustment, I've got this simple lab table, Beaver lab table, that seems to work well enough. It's got a bit of shake to it, but I think I can fix that by putting some clamps on the rod here, and that will make it firm up there, I believe. And it's got fairly fine adjustment. I can fine adjust it and then clamp those things off. And then for the X and Y directions, if you will, I bought this very simple, lightweight milling table. That seems it'll work well enough for my needs. I will remove this base part here because I don't need that extra inch of height. Be better just to mount it directly down. And this has fixturing areas here for additional tooling that will come, work holding equipment that'll come. But then in between these two pieces, I want this thing to be able to swivel and tilt in any direction. And the easiest way to do that I know of is to make a ball system like you'd see on a adjustable lamp or a Noga fixture or something like that, camera mount, where you've got a ball clamped between two steel plates. It's got this scrap of 1/2-inch metal here to demonstrate. A ball clamped between steel plates and then a rod attached to the ball that can then rotate in any direction, and then the clamping force holds it in place. Now, I've got this 1-inch ball, stainless steel ball. I also bought 1.5-inch in case the 1-inch doesn't give me enough clamping force, but I'm going to try with the 1-inch first. Got a box of 10 of them here so I can have lots of experiments with it in case I do something wrong. 1/2-inch A36 steel, just some 12L14 rod that I will thread and tap the ball to join the two pieces together. Then I'll make it as short as possible to mount onto the base of the milling table here to keep things as rigid as possible. Now I also bought, if I can find it here, yeah, here it is, a 1-inch, big wampin 1-inch high-speed steel ball nose end mill, so that matches the contour of the 1-inch ball. So that's going to let me put a depression in the base for the ball to sit in and depressions on each side for the ball to clamp into. So I'll work that out. So there'll be lots of holding force around the ball. And then I'll make these clamping plates as small as possible. I'll round them off and make them as small as possible around the ball clamping to give as much freedom to the rod as possible so it doesn't bang into these plates. So I think that's going to work out. I'm loosely basing the whole idea here on a channel called Home Metalworking by Harold Hall. And then, so he has a fully adjustable table as well, back and forth, side to side. And then on the top of his table, he has, I'll just demonstrate it here, to hold the end mill in place. The end mill needs to be able to slide back and forth and turn as you're sharpening the flutes. Like I don't want to be able to just sharpen the point of the end mill. I also want to be able to sharpen the flutes. So it goes like that. So there'll be another fixture that holds this thing and clamps to the top of the table here. And as I say, this table will provide room for any other kinds of fixtures I might want on here, like a small vise or whatever else down the road. So that's the grand plan. And I think as a proof of concept, the first thing to do here will be to make this, this little ball thing here, just make sure I can make it rigid enough that it's going to work in this setting. So that's what I'm going to do first. Order of operations wise, I'll put the indent in the bottom plate here first, and then in the two side plates. Oh, and the clamping force will be done. Viewers of the channel watched the belt grinder build I did ages ago. I screwed up when I first made the dovetail tensioner arm. I made this dovetail a little too narrow, or the corresponding one a little too wide. It was a sloppy fit. So I remade it. So I've got this extra piece of dovetail left over, and it's pretty much a perfect size to use for this application. I'll just cut a small piece of it here, put a dovetail on my base plate here so this can slide into it, attach this piece to it, and that will slide this guy in to clamp onto the ball. This will be a fixed jaw on this side. All right, so that's the plan. Let's get to it. Okay, I milled the base plate down exactly 1/4 inch. That's half the radius. It's a 1-inch ball exactly, half the radius down, so 1/4 inch. And then I measured the thickness of the plate plus 1/4 inch for the center of this hole, and it as well as 1/4 inch deep. And with the DRO and everything just like that, it worked out beautifully. Everything comes together nicely. The ball can, it's stiff in there, but it rotates still. And everything's nice and square. So now I need to do the same for the front plate. This will slide on this surface. No, it won't. It's going to be sliding. Yeah, it will slide on the surface. It'll bolt to the front of this thing. So it'll slide on the surface. So it needs to be 1/4 inch up on center and 1/4 inch deep to clamp on that ball. And then I'm going to take just a little piece of this dovetail, cut a dovetail slot in my base plate here to match. And then this will bolt onto screw onto the front of that. And this will apply pressure. I'll have some sort of a crank and screw arrangement here at the back. Obviously I can't do it traditionally on this side because I can't go through the ball. So I'm going to have to push on the clamp from this side. Okay, time for a quick demonstration. I've screwed my rod into the ball. No retention compound, anything yet, because I'm going to need to get this out to finish it and cut it off and thread it. This rod will only be as short as I can make it to fasten onto the next level of the jig. But for now, I've got all this leverage to play with. Obviously, it's not tight right now. Just to show you, I've got 180 degrees this way, probably about 30 degrees each direction off the vertical this way. And of course, it rotates, so I can put it wherever I want it. And then with just a reasonable amount of clamping pressure, I can move, even with this much leverage up here, I can move my entire mill without the ball slipping. So I'm very happy with that. In fact, I cannot make it move at all. That's pretty amazing. So very happy with that. Next, I'll just take it apart, clean it up a little bit, do a little buffing on it, and put some finish on it. I'll probably powder coat it to match this centerpiece. As much as I like to play with my furnace again, I decided not to harden the ball. Leaving it annealed will give it a better chance to be clamped firmly in the vice jaws. Okay, all the parts are out of the oven, powder coated, turned out pretty nicely. Just one of them I dropped, got a bit of splash on that one, but the other ones look really nice. I wanted to show you the parts individually because once they're all together, being black like this, they're not going to show up very well. So I'll just show you the final assembly here. Put this, better get this in here first. Dovetail slides in there. The clamping end cap goes on. 2 screws, everything 6mm. This guy's on there. And I can put the clamping screw in. Won't tighten it up yet. Then the ball has to get in there before this fixed jaw gets on, and a couple more 6mm screws. Oh, looks like got some resistance here. There's probably some powder coat inside the screw threads on that one. Let me just give it a little bit of coercion here. Oh yeah, it's tight. Just some powder coat got inside there. Might run a tap through that later just to clean them out. And things are still moving around just fine. The ball's probably going to lose some of its powder coating after moving around like this. And clamped up. And it's all good. As you notice, I did shorten this rod and drilled a hole through it just so I could hang it for powder coating. I had to shorten it so it would fit in my oven. That's still plenty long. I'll probably shorten it just to about 1.5 inches. The clamping on the next piece of the jig. So that's it, all complete. It's been fun. I think it's going to work out well. And that is a wrap. Catch you next time.